extended period of time so that I can feel more and more comfortable about who I'm just am alone.
Yeah, that otherwise we exist only in relationship.
Yeah.
What's your feelings about God, mate?
I believe in God.
Yeah, me too.
I don't believe that God is a male. I think that's
yeah, that'd be quite limiting for an omnipotent, omnipresent force of all creation.
That you're just a guy. And also, I think it just is very sexist. I mean, everything in nature says that the female can create and births and does, but yet the person that or the entity that created is a male, that we've never seen anything in nature. But I think this presence is all beings and all things, and so I do believe in God, and I think my son is an atheist. He does not believe in God.
Is this the lad that's 22?
22, yeah. And it's a big conflict for half the family because they're like, you should believe in God. And for me, I'm like, you're on your journey. You find your spirituality, you find whatever it is that's going to work for you, and I'm going to love you through that.
Who's the force for you should believe in God? Your mum, or where's that coming from?
My father. The Rastafarian, he read the Bible morning, noon, and night. That's a big piece of him. And so, I mean, that's why I say, like, he gave us such great tools and such greatness, even in the perceived destruction. I mean, he was just I wrote about him in my book, and people are always like, I thought he was going to be a villain. And I'm like, well, none of us are truly villains. No. We have good moments, we have bad moments, and that's what he was. And so he gave me a desire. I mean, in my household, he always referred to God one day as he, one day as she. And the first time I ever heard the term them was from my father. He was praying, and he was like, dear them, I believe that, I can be better. And I was like, them? What? Did you just say that God is more than one? Those concepts were just subconsciously thrown at me by him. So
it's weird, isn't it? He's on a mad spiritual journey. He's got some incredible beliefs, but I feel like the function of, I don't know, let's see, tell me what you think. I feel like the function of religion is to get yourself sort of in line with life, not a way of you evaluating, judging, and possibly condemning other people. I don't feel like there's room for that.
Agreed. In all religious texts, because I study religious texts since I was younger, because as being a gay man, being also a black man, where religion has been used to both justify slavery and also justify condemning me as a gay man, I have to study religion so I can be able to articulate and fight against religious leaders who use religion to damn or to preach hate. And what you realize in all texts, at the core of every organized religion, when they talk about God, God is always love and growth and birth and of all these things that are pure and loving. It is religious leaders who use text or to have people make these fear-based decisions, because that's how you're going to gain more of a following, more money. You're going to gain everything you want when people are afraid, and they're going to be like, well, take it so that I can be safe. Take it. I need you to keep me safe. So take my money, take whatever you want. But what I try to encourage people especially is remember, especially when talking about religion, that in no other text would you ever allow someone to divorce context from a verse. Yet in organized religion, we allow it always. So we'll let a pastor or a priest get in front of people and say one line in a chapter and say, this is what that means. The dog is green. And we're like, you have to kill your dog because your dog's not green. I mean, the pastor said the dog is green. So if your dog is brown or spotted, there's a problem. When you realize that if the rest of it, the context of the entire verse or chapter, there's more to it.
Yes.
And when you read, I tell people, young LGBT people all the time who want to have a relationship with God or want to have a relationship with organized religion, there's the statement about Sodom and Gomorrah. And we hear that all the time, that's where the gays went. And they were burning in hell because, they were doing gay stuff. and like that line is divorced from the rest of the context of the verse. And when you read the rest of the verse, you realize that actually is about pedophilia and about grown men who were raping young boys. It had nothing to do with consensual relationships between adult men or adult women or anyone who's adult and consenting. It was about this abuse of power to harm a child because that child was 2, 3, 4 and did not have the capacity to say, yes, this is what I want or what I don't want. But yet this term is used to sort of damn gay people. And when you're able to understand the context of the verse, then you can have more power in helping other people grow and be educated.
Yes, that's really well put, Karamo. Like,
Thank you.
I feel is that a lot of religious ideologies ultimately, or ideologies in general, become about power.
Yeah.
You know, the ideology of a nation can be a positive thing if it's like, oh, we're all together under one flag. But when it starts to be, oh, these people are more together, these people are less important, these people, and like, so it's not only a problem that's found within religion. It's as soon as an ideology is asserted, people use it to create hierarchies, to create dominant class and dominated classes of people. My sense is that if there is no room in any spiritual practice for anything other than love. Now, like, I suppose what people think is that there needs to be some martial element to life. We need to protect ourselves from imagined barbarians, or possibly people would argue real barbarians. Is there a real threat? But how relevant is that in the lives of ordinary people? It's certainly not as relevant as a sort of a principle like, accept and love one another, do as you will be done by, stuff that's throughout the Bible. One of the things I always am curious about is that Christ's teachings are so embedded with ideas of economic fairness, of love and sharing, and that's seldom used. One of the first things one of the most relevant things I would think about Christianity is a sense of fairness, justice, sharing, looking after one another, help the poor, do not judge sex workers. These things are sort of explicitly in there and extracted in place of difficult to locate ideas around the sexuality of consenting adults. And it seems that a society uses it to enforce its preferences as opposed to it being originally present in
Of course.
religion.
I mean, to go to your original thought, I think that this whole idea that we think that there's these barbaric people who are going to attack us and kill us is why we need these hierarchies is absolutely absurd. I think people who make bad decisions or perceive bad decisions or who hurt other people, it's from a lack of education. A lack of education causes fear. Fear causes ignorance. Ignorance causes you to react in a way that's going to be harmful to other people. And I think that if religion could get back to a place of helping to educate instead of create this fear-mongering space, then we'd be better. Because most people's introduction to the rest of the world is through organized religion, especially here in the States. From my experience, when you go to the South, when you come here, and especially in a lot of impoverished neighborhoods or lower economic neighborhoods, their first experience to the rest of the world is through someone in a pulpit telling them what the rest of the world is like. So if you've never went beyond your 4 walls and I say, the gays are going to kill your kids and touch them, of course you're like, oh my gosh, the gays are going to kill my kids. It was the same thing kings and queens did when people were living in their little castles and in their fort. They would say, if you go outside of these walls, there's going to be somebody who's going to hurt you. They're going to rape your wife. They're going to, harm your children. And then once we went out that wall, we were like, oh, before you hurt me, I'm going to kill you. And now we have this barbaric behavior just happening because of fear. And so again, I don't want to overstress this, but we really got to teach people how to not make fear-based decisions, make love-based decisions, and really think critically about when they're making fear-based decisions or when they're in environments that are teaching them to make fear-based decisions, like organized religion that's taught by someone who is making them feel like fear-based decisions is going to keep them healthy when it doesn't.